Alright guys, what is up? Today we are going to be doing a tutorial in Path of Diablo on this is the Immolation and Multishot Amazon. So I'm just going to give you guys a brief showcase of what this thing can do. It is insanely broken. You just shoot off screen and everything melts, and this is in hell, as you can see. Show you guys a couple different maps, what it can do, what it can't do, etc. Stuff like that. Extremely good for mapping, chaos, shank here, etc. It can basically do any content in the game. You can do cows with it, although Javazan is probably the undisputed cow killing champion, but just to give you an idea of what this build can do here. And I'll be giving you guys a brief overview of all the stats, the skills, the play style, best in slot gear, everything like that. I got a Valkyrie too, you can cast him, doesn't really need it, to be honest. Just kind of point and click, stand back, watch everything die. This build super excels in maps just because of the large density of monsters. You see, you don't really need potions at all, haven't touched any potions. And I'm also not fully geared out. I've got some high-end gear, but I also don't have all the gear. So even with just a little bit of investment, this build is super strong. Downside is, it's not a sorceress, can't teleport. You can see everything just dies super quickly. I want to get to Diablo so I can show you guys boss killing strength as well, so kind of briefly run through chaos here. The only downside with Chaos is sometimes you will get a physical and fire immune, in which case you gotta use Cold Arrow to kill him. That's gonna be the only real downside, is physical fire immunes. Everything else dies. Lurkers. Amazons in general are also a little bit, like that, are a little squishy, not too bad. You can see I've got my skeletons here, so that's going to be a byproduct of Faith, which I'll go over later, but they really help with the tankiness side of it. Mercenary, I mean, you do so much damage in this build, you don't even need a mercenary, to be honest, and you don't need the Valkyrie either. The only thing they're there for is cannon fodder. My mercenary right now has insight on. Helps out a little bit, but my mana regen is so high anyways, it's not super necessary. Over here, kill the last guy. This is the guy that will sometimes roll fire and physical if we get lucky, or if I'll have to cold arrow him. Oh, looks like he died. Fantastic. So I'll run and show you guys Diablo real quick. At the end, I'll do a little bit of, I'll do a T3 map I think I have on me. We'll do a T3 map just so I can show you guys kind of what that looks like. And Diablo just melts. Like that. Nothing good. I'll go back to town here and we'll kind of start with the actual guide part of it. But I wanted to give you guys a quick tutorial, not even a tutorial, a quick overview on kind of what this build can do. That was probably a, I don't know, 4-minute chaos run. Not too bad, 3-4 minutes, somewhere in there. That's about as good as it gets without playing a sorceress, so As far as gear here, we'll start off with the top here, helmets. I'm using the Andariels. Uh, Ideally, you're going to want 3 sockets on this guy. I see in Steed Mine, no sockets. I could socket quest it, but you're going to want 3 open sockets is ideal here. You're going to either want physical jewels or even an increased attack speed if you're not at your breakpoint. Alternate, you could also use a vamp gaze. That'd be good for leeching and stuff. Chest, I use Fortitude AP. I would not recommend going with a superior AP like I did. As you can see, it's a 209 ED. That makes this, when I go to repair it, I'll show you guys. I didn't take any damage. I didn't get hit. Whenever I go to repair this, if this drops 1 durability, it costs me like 200 grand to repair it, and that's a old Diablo 2 bug. I don't even know if it's a bug. Maybe it's intentional, but it's super annoying. I would rather have an AP. That 9% enhanced defense isn't doing a ton, so skip the superior APs. Next up, this is the kind of the requirement for the build. You need a faith. It's Omja Lem Eld, and you're going to want to make it in a Grand Matron bow, preferably a +3 Grand Matron bow. Any other stuff that comes on it is just, you know, positive. My roll is pretty bad. It's a 13. Not ideal. I think it goes up to 15 or 16. That would be what you want, obviously. Next up, we'll go with arrows. As far as arrows, you're going to want a maximum damage and then a flat damage. This one has max damage as well as flat damage, 24 to 31 flat damage. In addition to that, it's got 18 to 33 fire damage, and the big thing on here is going to be Mana Steel for me. Then I've also got some Magic Find. Here's some other arrows that I have. These are pretty good. Once again, max damage, flat damage, life, mana, and it's got the +1 bow and crossbows. +1 bow and crossbow, not super useful for this build. The only thing you're doing is adding another arrow to Multishot, and as you can see, we don't really need more arrows. We generate more than enough arrows as it is. On the swap here, we got Harmony just for run speed. One should know what that does. Belts, we'll go there first. Got Razor Tail, doing that for the Pierce. That's about it. It's got some dexterity and some max damage as well, which helps out. Boots, War Trials is what I use. You're going to want to use these for the physical damage on them. It also gives run walk speed, vit, strength, and enhanced defense as well as Magic Find, obviously, which is why most people use. But we're using them for that 15 to 25 flat damage on there, which is going to boost our physical damage on it. Rings here, we got Ravenfrost, 238 attack rating. Attack rating on this doesn't matter. What matters is the dexterity. With the Faith here, the reason why we use Faith is to get the Aura, Fanaticism Aura, which allows us to get more attack speed, as well as the Ignore Target Defense, which means attack rating doesn't matter. So on this, attack rating, 238, maxes out at 250. 238, worthless, doesn't matter. Get rid of it, junk. All we want on here is cannot be frozen and 20 dex. Secondary ring, best in slot for this ring is going to be a Wisp Projector for the added damage. I don't have a Wisp Projector. I did find this ring though. It's got 9 minimum damage, 8 lifesteal per hit, and quad res, which is pretty good. This build does struggle pretty heavily with resistance. So get best ring as you can here. If you want to use this, you can use it in gels. You can use whatever you want in that second slot, so you get a Wisp. But whatever you can find here. Gloves, best in slot, laying of hands. Ideally, you'd want to corrupt this and get some attack speed on it. We use this because it's going to give us 242 damage to demons and a lot of fire res. So that's pretty much the only glove you want to use. You could also use like a +3 with 30 attack speed on it, but it's not as good as that would be a secondary option. Other chests we could use as well. You could use like Chain of Honor or even Tal Chest, but I like Fort. Gives us a lot of extra damage, some resistances, stuff like that. It's easy to make. It's only 1 iron. Alright, I think that's it for gear. Down in the inventory down here, what you're going to want, ideally 1 torch, 1 Annie, lots of life and resistance small charms, so I've kind of got some lifers and some res charms down here. Magic Find if you can. These skillers right here, that one's got life on it, but you get the idea. These skillers are basically worthless. I only keep them because I haven't found better charms to put in their spot yet. You're going to want a Geats just for the magic find, at least that's my opinion. If you want more damage, you can swap it out for a damage charm. But I've got a lot of resistance charms in here, and then the max damage is what we want. So the max damage, flat damage charms, 320/20s. Once again, the attack speed, not super critical on that, but what we want is flat damage and life. In resistance, sorry. Alright, as far as Mercenary, basically, like I said, he doesn't really die too much. You can use whatever you want. Ideally, you'd want a Vamp Gaze helmet. I'm using Tal helmet with a splash in it. That's going to give him a little bit of lifesteal to keep him alive. He's got a Gladiator's Bane on here. You can use a Fort. You can also use like a Treachery on him if you want that. I find the Treachery is kind of hit or miss. Once he's got to get hit to activate Fade, and then once he has Fade, he's good, but I mean, if he dies before he gets Fade, not ideal. As far as weapons, I use Insight just for mana. Like I said, his damage isn't really worth it to me. I don't use him for damage. I'm using him as like kind of a self buff. You could use, for example, like Reaper's Toll or something. 6-socketed Reaper's Toll, 5-socketed Reaper's Toll, whatever they go to. Throw a bunch of jewels in it and just deck him out. For me, the Mercenary isn't a big point of investment. I'd rather invest into my character itself. And as you can see, I don't need damage, so that's not a huge priority for me. Now, as far as stats go, here's how my stats look. My stats are not ideal. I could actually use a respec more than likely, but as far as stats, you're going to want 108 strength. That strength requirement is to use the bow. You can see here 108 strength. And then you're going to want 152 dex as well. That's for the bow as well here. So I've upgraded a couple pieces that require different amounts and whatever. And so I do need to respec here. I get a little bit more dex. After you get these set up to 108 and 152 strength and dex, next step you'd want to dump about maybe 1 or 200 into vitality just to get your health to, you want to kind of gonna want 12 to 1500 life. Once you get to that point, you can start dumping that dex back into dexterity. That dexterity is going to give us more damage, more physical damage. And as you can see here, the damage looks kind of low, but you got to realize that 4,000 is multiplied by how many arrows? 24 arrows. So it adds up quickly, and you're shooting so fast. The other thing that's wrong with my character here is I don't have my attack speed where it needs to be. I need a lot more attack speed. That attack speed is based off of what level your Fanaticism art is. There's about 37 different charts you got to look at to try to figure out what your attack speed is. But as of right now, I can't really. The only thing I could corrupt would be this to get attack speed on it. I don't want to brick this until I get another pair. And I don't have the currency to buy a nice pair. As well as I don't want attack speed and enhanced flat damage jewels in the helmet here. Alright guys, next we'll go on to skills. As far as skills are concerned, we're going to want 20 points into Multishot here, and all the prerequisites obviously. 20 points into Multishot, 20 points into Imolation Arrow. We're going to put 20 points into Fire Arrow. We're going to throw 10 hard points into Exploding Arrow, so I'm actually one short here. I'd want one more, because you're going to be rocking about 10 baseline points with the gear that you have on, give or take a few. But you're going to want 10 points into Exploding Arrow. After that, you kind of get some diminishing returns, I believe. Not really worth investing that much more into it. You're going to throw 1 into Guided Arrow. That's going to be for bosses that are fire immune that you don't want to use your multi-shot on. So you would throw your Guided Arrow and use that physical damage instead of multi-shot. Kind of just one of those quality of life things, not super necessary in my opinion. I don't hardly ever use Guided Arrow. I would rather just shoot him with multi-shot. Another 1 point is you're going to throw into Cold Arrow. Magic Arrow is just a chain skill that we need. Throw 1 point into Cold Arrow. This is going to be for the physical and fire immunes. In the passive side here, we're going to want 9 points into Pierce. That's assuming you have a Razor Tail. You're going to want more than that. You want 100% Pierce. So if you don't have Razor Tail, put more points in Pierce until you have 100%. I've got one too many levels here. That one level should be in that other ability on the other page. You're going to want to reach at least 16, level 16 with Lethal Strike. That is included with bonus skills. And any extra skills after, you're going to dump into Lethal Strike. You're going to want 1 point in Dodge, Avoid, and Evade each. And then 1 point in Phase Run. You can do Valkyrie if you want, Decoy if that helps you out. Like I said, Valkyrie just dies, not worth it in my opinion. That's 2 wasted skill points in my opinion that I could put elsewhere. Like dumping into Lethal Strike or maxing out Exploding Arrow or any of the above. As far as gameplay is concerned, you're not really hopping skills a lot. Only other skills I have, so I've got Guided Arrow on F2, F1 I got Immolation, F4 I have Valkyrie, 5 is my Cold Arrow. So it's not a super hop around abilities. It's gonna be real simple. You just walk in and you just start shooting. And these arrows will fly way off screen, so you should never really get touched. And once you do start getting these skeleton guys, they will be your meat shields for you. So you just spray and spray and spray. Eventually you'll run across a physical immune, which you will throw a Immolation Arrow at. Anything that's super tanky you can throw an Immolation Arrow at. So the Immolation Arrow does a ton of damage over time. So I mean, you could do it all Immolation Arrow if you wanted, but it's not as quick as Multishot. Yeah, you just kind of come through here, just spray, throw a couple Immolations at it if you want, just to get rid of any physicals, and you're pretty much good to go. Major quality of life would be get some Mana Steel on something. Otherwise, you're going to be slamming potions like crazy. You can see I don't use too many potions unless I hit like a mana drain or something like that. But other than that, you just kind of sit back. It's a very chill build. It does a ton of damage, and it does really well in groups. When I map with a bunch of people, I just kind of hang out in back. The only downside to that is you don't get a lot of drops when you hang out in back. But not tanky. Best maps are going to be this one here. This is a tier 3 map and tier 4 maps. Both my Valkyrie and my Mercenary just died. Tier 3 and tier 4 maps, you can do T1s pretty easy. T2 can be a little tricky. It's not bad until you get to the boss, but the boss in the tier 2 teleports. He'll teleport on you 2 or 3 times and you're done. So just be wary of that. But yeah, super laid back build, super chill. As far as leveling as this build, I wouldn't level. You really need this faith to make this build work. Otherwise, you're going to have so much attack rate. You're going to need to have so much attack rating that it's just not going to be worth it. Really going to need to get the faith, or at minimum like a Lysander's aim, just to get a ton of physical damage. But in my opinion, stick with Java up until you get your faith. So that's what I did this season. I had a faith in about 2 days just from playing after reset. Just by running Java cows. So this guy here is an example where I could use Guided Arrow if I wanted to. Like you guys were seeing, I would just normally multi-shot him down. I like to do the zone out and kind of kill stuff and not pay attention to which direction I'm going and kind of relax and not think about it too hard. But that's my opinion. People like to play it different ways here. Ooh, and a shoot us. Ooh, almost died there. As far as the Andes, definitely watch your fire res. You don't want to be negative, especially in maps here. Do what you can. That's why I rock a bunch of these different Grand Charms with a ton of resistances on them. So that's right there is countering my Andes, because that Andes is going to give you negative 30. So Vamp actually might be better, but you're going to have to make up attack speed with the Vamp gaze. So keep that in mind. See what I got here. That's not too bad. Could be better, not great. But yeah, that's basically it, guys. If you guys have any questions, definitely leave your comments. If you want more videos like this, I can definitely make more. I've got a BOI Sin, and I've got a Hybrid Sorceress as well. Definitely give guides on those. The reason I kind of decided to do this is I was looking for guides myself, video guides. I want to see the play style of these builds. And Path of Diablo definitely has a lot of text guides, but not a lot of gameplay guides. So for me personally, I like to see how the build plays before I try it. And I also like to try new builds at the beginning of different ladders. So I think next season I'm going to roll like a Necro or something. Something that I don't normally play. So yeah, if you guys would like to see that, definitely leave a comment below. And I will try to oblige. But other than that, if you guys like the video, hit like. If you like the content and want to see more, hit subscribe. I do all kinds of videos, not just Diablo. I do Minecraft, I do all kinds of business simulators and stuff like that. So just let me know what you guys want to see next, and I'll see what I can do for you. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.